We stink it up in the first half. We blow the doors off in the second half, or at least in the fourth quarter. Washington State, we score 35 in the first half. And I'm at the end of that, because we have the admin chat, and Ty says, hey, I hope we score at least 3 touchdowns in the second half. And my comment was, we'll be lucky to score 1.
Right.
And we scored 3 points. Now, what is it? Why can't we put a full game together?
I know what.
You know, the person who figures out that answer should be the next head coach at USC.
I think Slovis has jitters in the early in games. I think he comes into games nervous, and it affects him. And that's one thing about this offense. Where your quarterback goes is where the team's going to go in this offense. Unfortunately, and I was talking to the guys in our little chat, was in this offense, your quarterback's got to be the second coach. A lot of times you just call a play, and the offense is built to the point to where the quarterback's supposed to see things, and he checks things. So a lot of times Graham will call a run play. And if you watch the line, they'll run forward, and that's how you can tell it's a run play.
Mm-hmm.
Slovis will pull in and throw a quick screen or a slant, and that's how the offense is built. And if Slovis isn't making those checks, it kills the offense. Number 24 for UCLA, he was killing us. He was blitzing off the edge, and those are things that Slovis was supposed to see in the first half that he didn't, and he's seen him in the second.
Not.
Yeah, I guess that would be my level of concern with Keaton Slovis. Is he waiting too long? Is he taking too long to go through his progressions? But when he does take off, he's not taking off soon enough. And he, like you were just saying, he needs to take off more often. And when he does, stop giving up yards, because that's what's happening. He should, like you were just saying about number 24, he should see the checkoff as that's his first destination when 24 is where he's located. It's not downfield. Take the green grass that Graham talks about.
Grass.
And I'm gonna play devil's advocate right here too, and I'm gonna tell you that watching UCLA the last couple of weeks, they were a much improved team since last year. And coming into this game, we discussed that the Trojans are gonna have their hands full playing against UCLA, not only because it's a rivalry game, but because they've improved so much. And DTR was a big part of that success. I mean, looking at him play at Gorman to where he's at now is like 180 degrees, difference. And so we knew right away that, at least in our group, that UCLA was going to be very tough. And you could see defensively and schematically, they were doing everything they could to make Slovis think about what he had to do when he came to the line of scrimmage. So, as much as I hate to say it, I give credit to their defense for doing what they had to do to make sure that, Slovis had a tough game.
How much of though is late in the game, USC has to come from behind. So it's not so much thinking, it's just more of going out there and playing. It's more 2-minute offense tempo.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't they just do that? Why don't they just do that from the beginning of the game? Have that mind.
I've been wondering that since last year. We're supposed to be the air raid is supposed to be a high tempo offense, and it works a lot better if we're up tempo.
Is that where his confusion comes in? He's just not sure, what gear to start in.
Oh, we should be rolling. Every 20 seconds should be a snap.
The offense was supposed to be the least worrisome facet of this team this year. Right now, it's the offense is I don't want to say the weakest link, but it's the one we're the most concerned about. Defense and special teams has been rock solid. Team finally does put all 3 facets together. Jesus. Amazing thing to watch. I don't know.
Speaking of the defense, I've seen some mixed reviews on different forums about the missed tackles and about the, we didn't look much better than Clancy for that particular game. What do you think?
Yeah, well, you know what? If people want to complain about the defense, I don't know what else to say. If you want to compare this year's defense to last year's defense, more power to you. Bitch and moan all you want. I'm gonna take the stats and this defense and run all the way home.
Definitely, because I'll tell you right now, the running back for UCLA was averaging anywhere from 150 to 175 yards a game coming into this game against USC. Right. And our defense held the man to 90 yards. So that's an impressive feat. Yes, they were scoring, but that was with the hands of DTR making plays in the air. I mean, at one point, DTR was like 22 for 24 for almost 280 yards and 3 touchdowns. The kid was on fire. But running game wise, we were doing what we were supposed to, and I think DTR had about 50 yards rushing from scrambles. So second half, I think we shut them out. What was it, Terry? You said 10. We second half we beat them 33-10.
33-10.
Yeah.
30, it was after the
33-17.
after they scored a 28th point, 33-10.
So to say that there was no adjustments after the half, I don't agree.
That's blasphemous.
It's ridiculous.
Well, the other thing is
– it's people looking for something to complain about.
The other thing is, people – because of how it went in the NFL and then because how it started out at UCLA, people really, really underestimate the mastermind Chip Kelly is. Some of the things that he was putting together Saturday night were amazing. You go to a formation with 3 tight ends and then you get the first down and then in a matter of seconds you're in the 4-wide set. That is insanely difficult for a defensive coordinator to keep up with. You got guys trying to sprint off the field. Like, it was crazy. We didn't have enough timeouts to keep up with that.
Yeah. So they did a good job as well. Offensively, like you said, Chip was the mastermind. He knew coming into this game, and he showed it that the last 2 seasons that I've played against USC as a UCLA head coach is I've ran the ball down your throat. And he tried, and the defense stepped up. If you look at last year was like 300 yards by one running back. The year before that, it was 200-plus yards rushing. I mean, the defense stepped up and they played a good game when it comes to the rushing game.
Absolutely. Like I said, you're going to have a really hard time getting me to complain about the defense. You're going to really have to grind me hard and it's just not going to happen. I remember last year, and the difference is night and day. There's going to be missed tackles. There's going to be missed assignments. It happens.
Of course.
But, I mean, look at the level of play of Talanoa Hufanga right now. Look at the level of play of incoming freshman Tui Pulotu.
Oh, he was a monster. He had a great game.
Look at the development of Nick Figueroa.
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on. I can name after name after name.
Like Marlon has improved a lot this year.
Marlon, right.
Nobody thought Drake could be an outside linebacker.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you. I'm watching him drop back into zone coverage like I used to watch Kyle Moore back in the day. That's crazy stuff.
You got 5'8", 5'9" little Max taking on 300-pound linemen.
Talk about a pit bull.
Yeah.
He's throwing his body in there like he's Matt Grutigan. Like Troy Polamalu used to. I mean, that little man, and I don't say little man in a negative.
Yeah.
But he's the smallest dude out there. But he's playing like a big man. Yeah. Todd Orlando brought the attitude, and they play with that defense. From Coach Soto on the defensive line. Dante with the secondary, Coach Niver, who you don't hear his name nearly enough. I mean, that dude's a rock star.
We don't hear Coach Snyder enough, man. That guy has been tremendous for this special teams of USC the entire season. He got a great kicker in is it Parker Lewis? I mean, that dude's got a boot, a tannin on his leg. Ben Griffiths, I've loved Ben Griffiths since the moment we signed him. And then, our admin team had talked so much about what USC has not done the last couple of years on kickoff return and punt return, and that's put up a game breaker back there. The last couple of years, they put the safe guy back there. As much as we love Tyler Vaughn and the immaculate moves that he makes and catches he makes, he's not a game breaker on the punt return. He's not going to get you that touchdown. Same thing with St. Brown on the kickoff return. He's just not that guy. He's exciting, but he's not fast enough to break that hole. And we always said, hey, you need to put a guy like Keenan Christian, track speed. He sees that hole, he bursts through it, he's going to get it. And then you put a guy like Gary Bryant Jr., who is a game breaker, who has the speed, who has the hips and the movement to make a move, a cut, and then go. And it was relevant when
you saw it on the last kickoff. You saw it right there, right? Yeah. Exactly the difference it makes.
Mm-hmm. And so to see Coach Snyder come in and make these adjustments, it's been phenomenal to watch, and it's really helping us out a lot.
It's also nice to have 11 players on the field for special teams kickoffs too.
Although I'm going to stay balanced here. We did have a John Baxter moment in the UCLA game.
Yep.
I was just gonna hit upon it. Like, it is not only is it amazing to make some plays every now and then, it is amazing to not hurt ourselves
right?
as much as last year. You know, that's.
And you talked about Parker Lewis. Even his missed field goals, are they really misses when they're going over the upright? And
Oh my God!
so high over it. You can't really judge it.
We might have a first-round draft pick at kicker.
Right?
Most jack kicker in all of college football. We got that on a lot.
Some people might remember the old, and it was kind of in fun, the Tom Malone for Heisman thing that we did back in the day. It's never
We might have to
too
start
early.
that. We might have to start that in 2 years.
Yeah. It's never too early. Let's get the Parker Lewis one started.
Yeah.
We might have to get Parker Lewis on a fake. Let him run it for 4th and 2.
Not, man.
No, we need Ben Griffiths to run it on 4th and 2, man. I've been waiting for them to do a fake with that guy, professional rugby player. I'm waiting for it.
And he made a tackle on Saturday, too.
Make a tackle.
Oh, it's huge. Huge tackle.
Ben's the holder on extra points and field goal. So maybe
So moving on, with that being said, let's talk about this Oregon game. Now that we know our opponent, I kind of felt like the delay wasn't going to be as bad as people initially thought. I kind of felt like, the entire offensive line for Washington couldn't play last week, so conventional wisdom says they can't play this week either. So I don't really know why the delay was there in the first place. Just more Pac-12 stupidity. But what do we think about Oregon this year?
Shouldn't even be playing them. That's my opinion. I've been saying that since yesterday. No, not even. I mean, come on. First place in the pack versus fourth place in the pack. They have no business being in the championship game. Sorry, my opinion.
Can they beat us though?
last year.
Can they? I guess they can. Will they? I don't think so. That's my short answer.
Anybody else want to go?
Yeah. So I'll talk about it. Every week, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm extremely optimistic, and then every week, the game turns out a lot different. There's a few holding calls. Slovis throws an interception. We miss a few tackles, long touchdown. So yeah, I'm crossing my fingers this time. I'm holding it close. I think Vegas said 3.5.
Yep.
I think we win by 3.
Hey, we beat the spread against UCLA. Let's remember that too.
We did cover.
For the second time this year, we covered.
No, it's third 3 in a row. We covered at Utah, Washington State.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
We're three in a row and covering.
So,
Well, Mark, what do you think?
my opinion on Oregon is you put pressure on Tyler Shuck, I think is how you pronounce his name.
Yeah, Shuck.
He has a tendency to make mistakes. He panics under pressure. Oregon's run game has been kind of hit and miss, depending on if it's Verdell or Dye. They kind of look for their hot runner day of the game, depending on who it is. They also have had a tendency to put the ball on the ground. And Tyler will throw the interception. So we know that the defense is the strength of this team, our team this year. We know the potential that USC has on offense and the games at the Coliseum. And, for most of the guys on the team, last year's beatdown is still fresh in their minds.
Yeah.
So what a great opportunity with the whole country watching on a Friday night, 5 o'clock, to make their case. Right? Make their case. Let's see if this team can play. I won't even ask for 60 minutes. Give me 45 minutes of all three facets playing together. That means 5 minutes throughout each quarter, spread it out throughout the game where you guys can just kind of find your way. But give me 45 minutes of solid ball game, and you actually should run these guys out of the Coliseum. And I really mean that, run them out, because everybody else was running on Oregon. Everybody.
Yeah, I mean, talking to Oregon fans, on different pages, they have no confidence in their defense whatsoever, for good reason. Their defense just has not performed. They can't stop the run. Their defensive backs or the backfield is just, it's young. and inexperienced, and they make mistakes. So with our wide receivers, with Drake,
Right.
Drake London, with Amon-Ra, Tyler Bonds, McCoy, they should be feasting on.
Yeah.
Will they? I don't know. It remains to be seen. But on paper, it should be. Their offensive line is actually really new. They only have one starter returning,
their
but
offensive line sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll tell you that their offensive line is underachieved.
Yeah.
So does Oregon play our receivers, man?
No,
Like everybody else has tried and suffered the consequences.
no, we know.
Or do you go with the BYU defense?
He's gonna do exactly what he did last year. He's gonna play two safeties really, really deep, and he's gonna dare Graham Harrell to run the ball. Now, the difference between last year and this year is we had no running backs last year. I think we had Creedy Christian only. I think.
Yeah.
And a walk-on.
And Keaton got knocked out of the game, and the game was semi-competitive until he was no longer part of the equation.
And it's looking like it's working out. I don't want to say it's working out, but it's looking like the game is going to be a Marquis Step game.
Mm-hmm.
With the knee sprain to Vavae.
Yep.
I could see Marquis Step being our workhorse Friday night.
Fine with me. I love that guy.
Yeah.
I'll give you guys my opinion on it, and I agree with Terry, just watching Oregon play this year. They're very young on the defense. They have athletes. They're really good kids that played from Southern California. Guys like Mace Funa, Thibodeau, Sewell, who's out of Utah. I mean, they have some guys out there, but they're very young. They're susceptible to the big plays, and offensively, they're not doing anything that's wowing you that you're used to seeing from an Oregon offense the last 10 years. Matter of fact, their best running back doesn't get but 5 carries a game. Last year, he had more impact in the game than what he's doing this year. For whatever reason, they're not giving him the ball. And like you said, the quarterback, he's an average kid. He's running the offense. He knows it, but he's not doing anything that's going to wow us. With the speed that we have on the edge with Drake Jackson, Hunter Echols on the outside, I think we'll do a good job. I think I'm more worried about containing in the middle with a 3D lineman. And to be honest with you, I'm confident that our D-line will do well because even last game, I think on the 4th down run, we stopped it with 3 down linemen on that 4th and 2 against UCLA. So I think it's not going to be as close as what Vegas is saying on the 3.5 spread. I'm sorry.
I said that was the running back's fault, by the way. He completely.
I know, but I'm giving credit to the D-line. But I think we have our offense is far more superior, to their defense, and defensively, I think we'll be able to contain them. And I think it's going to be more of like a 10-point route, 12-point route than the 3.5 that Vegas has given us. And it's at the Coliseum, and there's a lot of implications with kids that have played with each other. There's going to be a lot of kids as far as recruits watching this game. So this is an opportunity for USC to take back the West, and I think that's what we're going to do.
I hope so. And it's funny. The offense always talks about, hey, you're going to come out and play us man. It's going to be a long night for you. One thing I'll say about our defense, if you're a quarterback and you're not a running threat, it's going to be a long night for you. Drake Jackson, Marlon, and his little brother, it's going to be a horrible night for you. You can't run. So I think that's going to be the game changer right there.
Nick Figueroa he's been a monster rushing a passer this year too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that we would probably all agree, the game plan for the defense is stop the run and see if they can throw against them. And if they can't, like Ty and everybody else is saying, or Mark, the coach was saying, it's going to be a long night. Should be.
Agreed.
It's my opinion that any team that loses to Oregon State should never be allowed to play for a championship.
Well, like I said, they're riding a 2-game losing streak, and they're representing the North. To me, that just epitomizes this year, and why the conference can't make a change. Just say, you know what, USC was supposed to play Colorado. Colorado at least looks like the second best team. At least they did up until the second half of Utah. Let those guys play it out.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, the Big Ten did it. They changed rules for Ohio State. It's possible. You're not stuck. But again, with our commissioner and decisions he makes,
That's not my commissioner.
Roger Goodell's my commissioner.
I mean, look, you got you got the conferences, playing chess with each other. You got Dabo Sweeney, talking back about the SEC when, Greg Sankey's talking about what's going on in the ACC. And here you got Larry Scott just, twiddling his thumbs, and you hear the clown music playing in the background. And the Pac-12 just goes merrily along. Yeah, it's comical. And you know what? Everybody from all four corners of this country are calling it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
But nothing changes.
Yeah.
It's sad, man. And the other thing is, okay, you're going to give us Oregon. Cool. Oregon's been, kind of on top of they've been on top of the pack the last few years. We'll be honest about that. But then you're going to give them to us on a Friday night after dark. I know the Sunday is supposed to be the college football playoff rankings and stuff like that. Why not play us on Saturday? You know that obviously we were supposed to play UW initially. Now we're playing Oregon. Okay, we'll give each team an extra day to prepare. And not only that, nobody watches Pac-12 after dark, especially on the East Coast. So why even put your biggest game in the conference, even though it's not a great game, on a Friday night? It makes zero sense to me. I don't understand that.
Well,
when there's
it's the same-
Pac-12 games on Saturday still.
Well, it's the same reason why he put, USC ASU, which was at the time was supposed to be for the, who's going to, gain control of the South at 9:00 in the morning. I mean, he makes no decisions whatsoever that make sense.
Look,
9:00 in the morning, really? Come on.
But see, and here's the thing. In a weird way, this year, it makes sense because nobody can go to the game. Everybody's watching the games from TV anyways. So the people on the West Coast are watching it. It's already noon on the East Coast. They get to watch, USC at noon. I get it. To you and I, it sounds stupid because we like to go, for the game day, tailgate. That's our mindset. But in 2020, I've adjusted for maximum eyeballs. So if they're going to get it at 9 a.m. one time as a marketing gimmick this year, great. Friday night, 5 p.m. on the West Coast. Nobody's allowed to go out to dinner anymore anyway. So hopefully everybody on the East Coast is going to be home watching the game at 8 p.m. Ordering in from, DoorDash and Postmates and all that other fucking crap. I'm trying to find the positive out of it, and that's it for this year.
Yeah. The positive for me is I think people still, even though Oregon's a little down this year, I think, again, so we talked about nobody really watches Pac-12. People kind of still see Oregon as that brand from what they've done the last 2-3 years. I think a good win against them, if we're able to open it up,
sure,
put some space, I think people will respect that more than they would, a big win against Washington State. So if we can get 17 up or 21 up on Oregon, I think that'll go in our favor, and they'll have a tough argument come Sunday. We'll end up probably 6. That's what I'm thinking. Finish 6.
So let's talk a little bit about that too, really fast. I know that we've seen recently, and I don't know how legit they are, but like ESPN had that poll that came out, or I don't know who made it, saying that USC actually has a 50% chance of actually getting into the playoff. I don't know how that's possible or if that's going to happen, but what are your guys' thoughts? Are we happy and content with the Fiesta Bowl, or would it be a big deal if we got slid into that 4th spot?
I see no way we're going to jump up that high. I don't know how. We got to jump 11 teams or what? What are we now? 13? We got to jump.
Right now we're 15, and then the
15,
and the new one comes out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're 50. We got to jump 11 teams. Okay, granted, there's probably already 2 that we can jump that they lost over the week, but we still got to jump 9 more. That never happens to USC.
All right.
Do you think it would be fair to say USC could possibly be number 10 or 11 in tomorrow's football playoff pool?
Without a doubt.
Now, and again, I want to make this really clear. I'm not making the argument that USC is one of the 4 best teams. Okay, put that aside. So, assuming that's where USC slotted when the new poll comes out tomorrow, and assuming Northwestern pulls off the Ohio State upset, and Notre Dame pulls off beating Clemson twice. Why not?
Yeah.
You know, is Iowa State, who lost to Louisiana Lafayette, you know, are they more worthy because they maybe beat Oklahoma?
No, I agree. And that's the argument that there's a lot of people that are like, there's no way we should make it. Yeah, okay, well, you have your best Big 12 team has 2 losses. The second best Big 12 has 2 losses. And, oh, by the way, the first guy, they lost to a group of 5 in Louisiana, not LSU, Louisiana. So you had your chance to be good. You messed up twice. It's time to let the next person in line go. Yeah, we only have 5-6 games, but we're still undefeated, right? Coastal Carolina, I mean, that Cincinnati. It's hard to argue with what they're doing and how they're playing this year, but they're not in the Power 5. You know, those guys should have the Group of 5 should have their own national championship. To be honest, I think at the end of the day, Power 5 has theirs. They make that money. They have a national championship. Group of 5, they have their own certain bowl games that allows them to get to the national championship, and then you have 2 national champions.
Now, I do want to add, I would prefer the Fiesta Bowl because it would actually give the family members of these players a chance to go watch their kids play. And maybe even some fans can get into the game. Arizona's much more lax with their stay-at-home restrictions.
I agree.
So,
I agree for all those reasons, and not to mention we need a bowl game win. We need a bowl game win. I think Indiana is ripe for the picking with their backup quarterback. That's a good matchup for us.
in the event that Ohio State loses and USC still doesn't get that, you know, gratuitous bump into the number 4 slot, you see USC and Ohio State matching up well in the Fiesta Bowl?
Potentially.
Could that happen?
It could. It could, or they put Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl, and they match us up against Georgia potentially.
Yeah, I mean, there's some decent bowl matchups out there for USC. Potential.
So my question would be for you guys: would they put a 1-loss Texas A&M team over the undefeated USC team? Because if Ohio State loses, Clemson loses, the next runner-up is A&M. Would they put that 1-loss team over us? I think they would.
Yes, if
After the Florida LSU thing?
Yeah.
No. There's that argument made.
And what happens if Florida beats Alabama?
Alabama drops down to 4.
Yeah.
Alabama.
They'll drop.
I think it's safe to say Alabama is the only team who has secured a spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, no matter what.
Hey, there you go, Mark. Hey, here we go. Ohio State loses to Northwestern. Notre Dame wins again. Alabama loses. Notre Dame goes 1st seed. We go 4th seed, and we play Notre Dame.
Oh, that is.
Boom. You know what? That has the potential of setting up USC getting their schedule back. They get to play Notre Dame and a potential championship matchup against Alabama. It's not in Dallas. It's not in Dallas.
That would be out of all the other playoff teams, that'd probably be the only one I'd be like, oh yeah, guys, we got a shot.
So it's 2020. Is this even out of the realm of possibility?
No, it's not.
No.
Northwestern could 100% beat Ohio State. They could.
Look, Indiana has a really good defense, and they made Ohio State earn every point. Northwestern has a really good defense also.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not Indiana level, but it's good.
And only because also you got to factor Indiana offense. They was killing Ohio State, especially on the edges. Those receivers having a field day. Yeah. Northwestern doesn't have those weapons. So if they can like slow the game to a grind and like 24-17, 17-10, they got a chance. But if Ohio State scores over 21-28, I don't think Northwestern can keep up.
Yeah, Northwestern's got to find their Stanford in them.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I'm really thrilled for our team and some of the adversity that they've had to overcome the last couple of years.
Absolutely.
And I'll be honest, and we discussed this before, is that I'll be content with a Fiesta Bowl and a win. Albeit Indiana or Cincinnati or somebody that they throw in there against us. As long as we dominate and win, the impact that it will have for the university for recruiting will be tremendous, and the momentum going into 2021. Then we could potentially talk about playoffs. Now you got Slovis, who's a junior, who's probably going to be on the Heisman watch list. You have your receivers on the outside, Brew McCoy, Kyle Ford, Drake London, Gary Bryant Jr. These guys are all coming back. The line's going to be better. You're going to be more mature. The defense, a lot of guys are still coming back. I mean, 2021 could be the year that USC actually makes the push
You're
for
gonna
a
need
playoff spot.
you're gonna need a left tackle.
Left tackle, yeah. That was Mark read my mind.
Left
See,
tackle-
our
Left
birthday
tackle's already on the roster.
Yeah.
He's on the roster. Yeah, he's on the roster.
Yeah, but they put him at guard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
For now.
Yeah. I mean, and so there you go. That, by the way, that was the first time he's ever played that position.
Oh, God.
Wow. Oh my, that's crazy.
So remember now, that's the first time he's ever played the position, and he's trying to learn it in what they call the playpen on Howard Jones Field, and he's doing this virtually. I mean, he's literally going up against shadows. There's no physical contact, and he's trying to learn the position.
But the fans don't understand that. Like, and you know, they were away from each other. Saturday you get together, or was it Friday they got together? No, Saturday they got together. Sunday you're playing a game.
Right.
What more do you want from these guys? You know what I mean? And we
Right.
still won.
Right. There's so much room for improvement, and there are areas where criticism is due. But, you know, like I said, let's just take everything and throw it in the bowl. And everybody will
Scott,
put
what's
them.
going on?
Uncle
Hey, I
Scott.
might not be able to hear
Scott
you
in
all
the
that
house.
good, but I'll do my best.
Well, it's on you, Scott. What updates do you have for us with recruiting with the big signing day coming up on Wednesday?
Yeah, I don't know how many updates there are to do. You know, there's going to be 12 guys signing on Wednesday, and it'll probably be a couple of commitments, guys that will commit and sign on Wednesday. Other than that, I mean, it's not going to be really any eventful signing day. I wouldn't say. Probably January 2nd will be a bigger day with Corey and Sierra Wright are going to be announcing on the All-America Bowl show. I think it's called an announcement show. I'm not sure what name they gave it, but you know, it's going to be a lot better signing day than it was a year ago. And then there'll be another one in February. That might even be more significant than signing day, because everybody kind of knows who's signing on Wednesday.
Right.
So you got a couple of guys. You've got Jackson Dart is going to be announcing, I believe, is signing on Wednesday. Devin Kirkwood, he's going to be announcing. And I'm not really sure. Receiver Joseph Manjack, he sent me a text about a half an hour ago that he's probably going to be either announcing or signing in January or February. I'm not really quite sure what his situation is, but anyway, I mean, there's really not that much going on, but you guys can ask questions.
What about Rajon Davis?
He's signing in February. He
How do you
decided
feel?
not to roll early, and so I think things are probably going in a really good direction with USC with him right now. But he's not going to be making his final decision until February 3rd.
Okay. You wrote on USC Scoop today that I think you answered someone's question where having Corey, if he announces for SC in January, actually helps us as well with JT.
Yeah.
You think that's going to happen?
Well, I don't think USC doesn't really have a feel on what JT's going to do. They know they're in it, but I think the feeling right now is that Ohio State is probably the school to beat, and you know there's still some time to play out. He's also not signing until February, so I'm not really sure where things stand with JT. But you know, I mean, if USC is showing guys that they're signing some other elite prospects, it certainly helps with JT.
How you feel about Alton McCaskill, a running back out of Texas?
That's what I was gonna say.
Another February signee. I think he's going to end up at USC.
That's a good one.
I mean, I know that there are some tweets going out with the current commit that we have, that running back, that maybe wasn't happy with, you know, how much we were using the the running or how much our running game wasn't producing. You think we keep him, or do you think we might lose him?
No, there's no chance in him signing with another school. He's definitely signing with USC. But yeah, I think it was hard to watch that Washington State, or I think it was Washington State, wasn't it? I forget who USC played.
Yeah, it was Washington State.
As a running back, it's hard to watch that. Collectively, the running game for USC has not been strong for all year, but it certainly had not been as weak as he kind of was thinking it was. And so anyway, he got on the phone with all the USC coaches the next night after the Washington State game. And then the UCLA game happened. And the run game was, Vavae proved to him that the USC will feature a running back. And I think that was his main concern. It's like, do you guys really use a running back at USC? It was where Brandon and his dad were kind of at.
What about Scott? What about the kid down in I think in San Diego, Brandon Caldwell, the other running back? What's any word on him?
Yeah, he's the guy that they like, and I think he has interest in USC. But they're not going to take 3 running backs.
So you think McCaskill and Carwell are the two that they're focusing on at this point?
Campbell.
I'm sorry, Campbell.
Yeah, after that, I mean, I'm not even quite sure they're even, how much they're focused on him at this point, because they kind of know. I mean, they were actually at the point where they told Brandon Campbell that they're willing to take 1 running back. So McCaskill, they feel good about him. He kind of took some time off from the recruiting process to focus on school and his football season. In fact, this Friday, McCaskill plays Joseph Manjak's team, Tomball Memorial. So that should be a matchup to be.
Should be a good matchup.
Hey, Scott, really fast. One of the guys from USC, Scoop, Trojan fan in Bama, just said that he wants you to know that you don't know what you're talking about. So I thought I'd share that with you.
He's the only one I haven't fooled. He knows.
So what about any luck about Calvert? I know he was a big prospect. There's talk about us losing the linebacker and Gautier.
I don't think Calvert's gonna flip his commitment. USC doesn't feel like he's going to. They've tried to reach out to him and haven't heard back. And he's gonna sign on Wednesday, so that's pretty much it with him. But again, this is a year where they're not overly concerned about some positions because they kind of have an idea of who might be available in the transfer portal. It's going to be a free-for-all in January when kids can transfer without sitting out. They get a one-time transfer starting in January where they don't have to sit out a year. So there's going to be a lot. USC might look in the transfer portal for a quarterback, maybe another running back. I'm not quite sure. I think they're going to figure out the running back situation when the season's over on who leaves before they make a decision on taking more than 2 running backs. But anyway.
So Bama asks, what about Austin Ook? And then my question is also, do you see any of our guys hitting the transfer portal?
I'm sure there's going to be some guys from USC that'll hit the transfer portal. I don't have any names to give right now, but sorry about that. Say that one more time about the question.
Austin Ook. Bama wants to know about Austin Ook.
Yeah, USC's got a really good shot at getting him. He's the only offensive lineman they're still recruiting that's not committed right now. Unless something happens with Mario Cristobal, then Kingsley could come back into play. So we'll see how that works out. But we'll be on top of that if there's a shot at Kingsley. But they will definitely go after him.
Cool. Thanks, Scott.
How many do you think we're actually going to sign in between the early signing period and as well as in February? How many are we looking at?
I think the class will be more than 25. I think that's the only thing we pretty much know for sure. Again, you have to wait until spots open up and whatnot. But at one time, I wouldn't have been surprised if it was going to be 30.
Wow. Wow.
That might not happen, though. It may not happen with all high school kids. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But I think they'll have 30 spots available to fill on the roster for next year.
What about the EA's little brother? Now that EA's in the transfer portal or planning on it, is he still in the picture? Because we haven't heard much about him at all since he left Moscow.
They really haven't. The new staff has never really recruited him.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, he won't be a part of the class.
But he hasn't officially decommitted, though, has he?
I don't know. I'm not sure. He may not have, but I know that they're not really not pursuing him.
Is there any hope for Quay Davis, or is he's gone?
Yeah, no, he won't be at USC. I don't know. I mean, he'll be. The way it was put to me, he might be lucky to be at any school. So that's kind of where things are at, unfortunately.
Let's lose a talent like that.
All right, you guys got anything else for Scott on recruiting?
No.
Yeah, he
Thanks,
covered
Scott.
everything.
Thanks for
Scott,
taking time.
appreciate it,
out,
man.
Yeah, appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Uncle Scott.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. I'll have a little bit on Corey Foreman tonight, too.
Thank you.
USC Scoop. You guys want to know the best about recruiting? Follow USC Scoop. Scott's going to be there.
Right, man.
So, one little great thing nugget that he sent me in a message was that he was with the Jackson family and the Foreman family. So, hopefully, it works out in USC's favor. We'll have to wait till January to find out. I have a good feeling, but you just never know. You just never know.
Speaking of nuggets, without going into the details, there will be some new creativity with the run game. Yes, we're working on that. So
Hopefully it's good creativity, because the creativity they did with Gary Bryant Jr. stick to our laws.
Yeah, that didn't work out.
like I said, when you put somebody back there who's not normally back there, one of two things is going to happen. He's either going to hit the ball, or if he doesn't, I'm still going to blow him up as a defender to make sure he doesn't get the ball the next time.
Well, they ran that same play later on with Carr, and it got blown up too.
Right.
Yeah, no, 24 for UCLA. Hopefully he's leaving, because he was a monster. He was killing us.
I think
they were disguising their coverages really well. I mean, even AVT looked like he had a blown assignment.
He did.
Which you don't see that happen.
I hope that creativity includes some run blocking as well, right?
So, like I said, they're not going to go any further with that, but I found it interesting that they are working on it for this game specifically.
Creativity. Let's not use 4 receivers as tight ends. Let's do
Well,
that.
me and Mark will be looking at the air raid playbooks tonight to see what they're going to do with the deep two.
No.
Just run some different formations. They're going to use actual tight ends instead of receivers in tight end spots.
Bring the H back.
That'll help. That'll help a lot. I tell you what, you're trying to lead block with they pulled Amon Ra and tried to lead block with Amon Ra one play. That was amazing.
Yeah, I don't like the sound of that.
Mark, I got a question for you. With the COVID eligibility rules, as far as nobody losing any eligibility, could you potentially see the coaching staff, giving guys hey guys, I love everything you did for us at USC. But we need you to
move on.
You and I are on the same wavelength, because I was wondering if we were going to touch on this. So I brought it up earlier, the exit interviews.
Yeah.
I think there are going to be some fatherly son conversations with Clay pushing some of these guys out of the nest, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to free up some of these depth charts. There's a few depth charts we got to free them up.
And we hate to see, EA leave, but, if we remember back beginning of the year, how it was really emphasized how he's really taking to Coach Orlando's hard coaching.
The team needed that. The team, not the individual. The team needed that.
Read between the lines. What was that hard coaching? Was that, hey, you're not physical enough, EA, or you're not giving enough effort, EA, or you don't know the playbook, EA?
Lost in the sauce.
So, you know what? He obviously is ready to come off the concussion protocol. Leg contusion injuries are kind of like back issues.
Lingering.
Yeah, they linger. They're hard to diagnose.
Yeah, just
my own perspective. Is that the saving place for EA to just slide it out gracefully and quietly without having to have that exit interview?
I personally think he got overweight, and I don't think anybody wanted to tell him. Coming out of Gorman, he was 6'2", 235, 240. He's a lot quicker. He's a lot faster, especially laterally. he's listed at 250, but I think he's closer to 255, 260. The way he looks.
And out of shape. A little out of shape.
Moves bad. He lumbers down the field. I think if he does go with his brother to Michigan State, which that's what they're projecting, I think they'll be good. He'll be a good Big Ten linebacker. Where they run the ball a lot. But Pac-12 spread, you can't play linebacker here in the Pac-12 that big.
And that's what I'm trying. I guess what I'm trying to get people to read between the lines is that hard coaching was, hey, you better adapt, or you're going to be standing next to me on the sideline.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the biggest thing that we noticed and we talked about too is that there was no fall off on our defense when he wasn't.
It got better. It increased.
So I mean that should tell you everything you need to know right there. And I love the kid. I watched him play at Gorman. My dad, he coaches out there for Silverado, so I got a chance to see him play live at Gorman. So he'll be fine. He'll land on his feet wherever he goes. This
isn't a knock on Palie's character. It's just, if we're going to keep it real, we worship these guys as high school 5-star studs. Well, when you're 3 and 4 years into the system, you are who you are at this point.
Yeah.
So, like you said, wish him well, because he won't be on the team next year.
Fight on.
Right. Chase McGrath, he entered the portal, but he's sticking around at least through the end of the year, it seems like.
I tell you what, though, the portal for former USC players looks very, very good to them. Like, I'm seeing people like, was it Angeline? The tight end was catching touchdowns.
Oh, yeah, he's balling it.
The Illinois crew, the USC Illinois pipeline.
Yeah, Illinois, there you go.
They're doing good out there. All our transfers are doing pretty good at their next school. So I think he'll do the same thing. He'll do well.
Yeah, and, Scott touched on it before he left. Trojan fans should anticipate seeing an active portal going the other direction.
I can see that.
It's not always a bad thing, Sometimes you just need a change of scenery.
Yeah, I agree.
There's just some guys that they should be on the field somewhere. Unfortunately, it's just not at USC. I think Isaac Taylor Stewart is a guy that should be a starter at a school. Just the way it worked out, it's competitive. It's just not here.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're not calling his name. Let me put it this way. Here, let me play the other side of the coin. We're not calling his name or number when he's on the field, which means he's not having a flag thrown against him. He's not getting beat.
Yeah.
And if a pass is completed, it's being completed in front of him. He's a sure tackler.
100%. So, I hands down think he's a D1 starter. I agree with the coaching staff that Steele and OG got the edge. Same thing when it came to Slovis and JT. I personally agree with that. But I also think JT is a potential, first, second round draft pick. That's just how it worked out sometimes.
Which speaks to your transfers, like you said, like JT's thriving in Georgia now, and Bubba Bolden thriving in Miami. So these guys are going out there and transferring. They're doing well.
Well, Bubba transferred not because he really wanted to.
Yeah.
So again,
he was kind of forced out.
Yeah, it was. He got forced into an exit interview he wanted no part of.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
And when the facts came out, it was very, very shaky at best.
It's USC for you, but.
So I guess one of the last things I would like to bring up. Going into next year, if you look at the schedule for 2021, the out-of-conference schedule is by no means what it would have been this year. I think we lit off with San Jose State. We got San Jose State, and then we have BYU later on, and of course we got Notre Dame. And then as far as conference, we avoid Washington and Oregon.
Correct.
I mean, is it 11-1 or bust? 11-1, 12-0 or bust? Like. Is that the expectation for 2021?
Isn't that the expectation every year?
Yeah, but I would have took a loss to Bama. I would have accepted a loss to Bama and Notre Dame. I would say, yeah, okay. I would have loved to win, but
not Notre Dame. Nope, not Notre Dame.
There can't be any Friday night losses to Wazoo when we're number 3 in the country next year.
100%. I would say for mine, It is 11-1, 12-0 or bust because we have the kids, we have the recruits, we have the a lot of the guys coming back. We have the defensive staff that we've been wanting for the last 5 to 7 years. The air raid clicking with more than just 4 weeks of preparation. I mean, there's no reason why we can't. I mean, we're going to destroy San Jose State. Not to be. I'm just going to keep it real. I know they're undefeated. I know they're good. I'm not taking anything away from them.
Fresno State. We were supposed to destroy Fresno.
I know. I'm just saying they're not Fresno State. Year in and year out. So I think that'll be good. I think BYU without their quarterback is going to be a different team. So I don't foresee that being a problem. Notre Dame's going to be the tricky one, and I'm not sure if it's at home or away this coming year.
I will go on record right now and say San Jose State will have a new head coach by the time we play them next year, because their current head coach is going to get scooped up at one of these openings.
Yep.
San Jose State is a springboard job. Period.
Yep.
What I will say though is, if USC is USC, they beat everybody. But what I will say, Oregon State is well coached.
Mm-hmm.
Washington State is now well coached. Colorado is now well coached.
Yeah.
UCLA is coming around. So, hey,
is the Pac-12 now not the worst conference coming next year?
Let's see who takes the Arizona job.
Gus Malzahn.
You think?
Gus Malzahn. I mean, that's my first phone call.
If Noel Mazzoni's offense doesn't work there, why is Gus Malzahn going to work?
Because Gus Malzahn runs the ball.
It's a name, though. It's a name, too.
Because they should be able to get it for cheap because he's already getting paid $8 million a year to not coach.
Well, yeah.
So he'll come for cheap. So same as Rich Rod, same as Sumlin, right?
I don't know. And is that, I guess the out-of-conference schedule is set, but is the conference schedule set? Because of
not the dates and times, no, but the teams I think are set.
Yeah, the shows on there.
So we got.
I'll be honest. I was shocked that our crossover was Washington State and not either Cal or Stanford. I was shocked.
But when I looked at how the teams were looking to, I guess, finish preseason before the season started, it looked like they matched 1-6, 2-5. If you really look at it.
Yeah.
How it laid out. It really did look that way, so that's my guess.
Equitable Larry.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, Rick Fielder says, does Cristobal stay or go? What's your opinion?
I think he stays. I think he signs the extension. I think he's a fool for Stan, but I think he stays.
I said Mark, not coach.
I think Oregon played this wrong. They had a chance to have him sign to an extension earlier in the year.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's got Oregon by the –
Yeah, he does.
By the adjustment sign that we made on that pass to Tyler Vaughn's.
By the cojones. Just say it, by the cojones.
Well, apparently the reason, at least this is from Oregon fans, the reason for the delay is at the time that they were talking about doing the extension, what was it, summertime, we were right in the middle of the pandemic. Are they going to announce that new highest paid public employee in Oregon is now making $6 million a year when everyone else is on unemployment? That's how they're spinning it.
It didn't stop them from going forward with the largest scoreboard. It didn't stop them with putting in Brazilian wood floors in the athletic training center.
I'm just telling you.
I know.
Duck logic. That's all I'm telling you.
I know.
I'm just telling you duck logic.
They are the least sophisticated fan base in this conference.
And this
Absolutely.
This is why I say, even though I think he will stay, this is why I say he's a fool for Stan, because Alabama ain't Oregon.
Yeah.
Auburn just chucked up $21 million on a buyout like it was nothing.
Right. He should. And I don't say this because I fear him at Oregon. Look, let's give Mario Cristobal credit. He's a hell of a recruiter.
Yes.
Is he the greatest X's and O's coach? No.
No.
By no means. But if you could bring, SEC level talent into Auburn and be competitive with Alabama, Auburn's always going to have a fighting chance to contend for a championship. Oregon, no. If USC has their head pointed in the right direction and everybody on the same page, and they are fully vested in the football program from the administration level, yeah, USC is that they can be close again to turning that corner. I know that Mike Bond and Brandon Sosna, I know where their heads are. I know how bad they want it. So if this team isn't going in the right direction, changes will be made.
There was a comment by by Bond that Mark Dickens, you had brought up, that he only cares about wins or losses. He doesn't care about how it looks. And I kind of thought that's just him saying that just to make sure that Clay doesn't get his feelings hurt.
Right.
That's my opinion. What do you think?
Now, don't get me wrong, from a coaching perspective. So if I'm coaching my team, in the locker room, in the film room, in the meeting rooms, we're gonna talk about the mistakes that we made. But at the end of the day, the W is all that matters. I'm not gonna lie. We won. A lot of people, like I posted the other day, a ugly win looks better than a pretty loss any day. No, Florida's sitting right here with a loss, and they look way better than USC, but they lost.
But that's the thing, though, is I'll play devil's advocate that in today's college football world, and not even today, but the last 10, 15 years, you have to be flashy. You have to show that you can score these 50, 60 points on teams that you should really decimate so that you get those votes when it comes time for the College Football Playoff Committee to say, yeah, without a doubt, this team is number 5 or number 6.
So if this
and
was
all those other teams do that, we don't do that, and we haven't.
If this was a 12-game schedule and USC was 11-0 right now, it wouldn't matter if we won by 1 point in all 12 games. We'd be number 4. It wouldn't matter. 100%, hands down. If we were the only undefeated,
higher than number 4.
yeah, if we were the only undefeated team in the Power 5,
right,
we would be we'd be in the top 4, hands down, easily.
Well, yeah, but if you're 11-1, they're gonna look at you and be like, they have that one loss. How do they win those other games?
11-1 Power 5 conference champion, we'd be in. Every game winning by 1 point, we'd be in.
Yeah, look at Florida State a couple of years ago. You're right. Every game they won was with 1 or 2 points here and there, and they still made the play. They got killed by Oregon in that playoff, but they still got there.
They had Jimbo Fisher. They had Jimbo Fisher too, and those voters, whether people like to admit it or not, they're gonna be like, "We like Jimbo. We're gonna give those guys the extra nod." When it comes to Clay Helton, he doesn't have that juice across the nation right now.
They like him though. They like him.
They like him. They don't think he deserves to be fired, but at the same time, they don't think he deserves to be in the title contention either. So it's a lose-lose situation for us. So that's why I say we have to come out and just blow teams up, blow them out without a doubt. Leave no doubt.
My reasoning for I would like to see some distance between the teams that we're supposed to is it gets the young kids on the field. It develops your backups, and it's also a recruiting element to say, look, guys, these dudes are getting in the game. They're getting snaps. They're getting on more than special teams. A guy like Bryce Young, right at Alabama, he's got in every game this year because there's 45-0 at halftime. So that's my biggest thing. Not to mention when you're in knockout drum to the end games like this past weekend, you lose players to injuries.
Yeah.
I am 100% absolutely shocked that Talanoa Hufanga came out that game unscathed. I'm sure he was in an ice bath Saturday night because he was a warrior. He was a warrior. Almost 20 tackles. That's not what you want to be in every week. So that's my stance on the close game.
I guarantee you he's probably wearing the yellow jersey this week.
Funny enough, yeah, 18 tackles against UCLA last year.
I have a feeling that Talanoa is taking it easy this week. Because you're right, Mark. It takes a lot out of you, especially in the rivalry games. Not just physically, there's that emotional drain too. So that's something else we got to be wary of this coming week is, will these guys be able to generate enough juice one more time before they can actually take a deep sigh and look forward to a bowl game? Hopefully see their parents before a bowl game.
Yeah.
So, we're laughing, but, and I guess teams are opting out of bowl games for that reason.
Yeah.
Because they haven't seen their family since June or July.
No, that's 100% right. We have because we have some parents that follow our page, and Cortland Ford's dad was on there yesterday saying, "Hey, my son's out there busting his butt," and he goes, "I miss him. I haven't seen him since June." You know what I mean? So I can imagine that's like that for majority of the players.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I get it. Man, talk about, trying to keep everybody together. Look, we're all older. Some of us more than the others. As Terry and I start each other. Yeah, this is weird.
Yeah, you got a point. Not seeing your parents for 5-6 months, that'll weigh on anybody at any age.
Look, I guess what I was saying, I still remember what it was like to be 17, 18, 19 years old. We're still stuck on mama's teeth.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that for emotional support more than anything. So Clay can play daddy all he wants.
And that's what Cortland Ford's dad said, was that he's happy that his son is playing for Clay, because he knows without a doubt that he's taking care of his son in these times right now. So that speaks volumes about the man that Clay is, and I'll give him all the props for that.
Yeah. So yeah, USC does a lot of things well. So hopefully, even the harshest Clay Helton critics can, give the guy some credit every now and then.
It's hard, Mark. They don't like giving him. They don't like giving.
I get it, and he eats a lot of it on himself.
Yeah, I get it, but yeah, you can't go 5-7 and 8-5 in back-to-back years at USC. It's inexcusable.
The fact that he still has a job is
amazing.
I think
and he's making the most of his opportunity, right?
Yes, he is.
The more I think about it, and you're 100% correct. No, everybody knows that that's not the standard, but I think the university gave him a mulligan because they know they didn't do everything in their power to help him be successful. There's not, we kind of mentioned it, but there's night and day difference between this administration, athletic department than it was when he first took over at USC. So they probably kind of had to admit it and like, you know what, we kind of failed you. So here's your freebie. Right.
And look at the year he's doing his freebie under. I mean, this is a challenging year. I've coached high school basketball. Mark, you coach now.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping young players' heads screwed on is more than half the battle. And I've never had to deal with anything like what these guys are dealing with this year. Nothing. So, let's give them, like everyone's, let's see what happens in 2021. This year is kind of what it is.
Yeah. Making the best.
There won't be any latitude next year.
No. Playoff or bust.
All right, guys, you want to call it a night?
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, Mark, stay on for a second, Mark, after we stop recording.
Okay.
Mark Culkin.